Welcome to the TAC Index AI podcast, December 18th, 2025, where we blend TAC IP data, reports, and charts with the latest news in all things logistics with a focus on air cargo.
Today we're doing a deep dive as we get to the close of the traditional peak season.
Right, and the mission today is really to unpack two big things. First, why are global air freight rates holding so steady?
And second, how these major external shocks, we're talking fuel, we're talking tariffs, are setting up a really complex, maybe even volatile environment for 2026.
Okay, so let's jump right into the headline number. The overall Baltic air freight index, the BAI 00000, it gained again. A solid plus 2.4% week over week.
And this is the crucial part for you to really clock, the year-over-year figure. It's only fractionally lower.
Just down 0.8%.
Exactly. I mean, after all the headwinds we've seen, that kind of resilience tells you everything. It's strong demand hitting a wall of constrained capacity. That's what's keeping these rates surprisingly high.
Yeah. So the global picture looks stable, but when you dig into the hubs, you see some pretty serious regional battles going on. Let's start with Asia.
It's a tale of two cities, really.
It is. Hong Kong's index was up 2.8% compared to the last 7 days, but our spot data showed traffic was already flattening out, maybe even dropping late in the week.
And that's the contradiction. Because while Hong Kong is maybe catching its breath, Shanghai just surged.
What was the number there?
Up 3.4% week over week. And that leaves Shanghai a huge plus 11.3% higher than this time last year.
Wow. So that's well above its 2024 peak.
Right. It basically cements Shanghai as the main gateway out of Asia at the moment, especially for anything heading to Europe.
And speaking of Europe, we saw an unusually large spike there.
We did. London Heathrow had a really big jump, up 9.2% week over week.
And Frankfurt, too, right? Up over 8%.
Frankfurt jumped 8.2%. We're seeing real momentum on those transatlantic lanes and also on routes out to the UAE and South Africa.
It's interesting to contrast that with North America, which was a lot more volatile.
Very different picture.
Yeah.
Chicago gave back a huge chunk of its recent gains. It fell 14.3% last week alone.
That's a big drop.
It is. So you have to wonder, are we seeing freight consolidating in Europe before a U.S. consumer slowdown? Or is this just normal peak season cleanup? Meanwhile, Miami rates to South America just keep climbing.
Okay, so this is where it gets tough. The pivot point for planning. The macro forces.
Yeah, this is the hard part.
Let's start with jet fuel. President Trump's ordered blockade of sanctioned oil tankers near Venezuela. That immediately pushed crude prices higher.
And you have to appreciate the domino effect here. I mean, analysts are estimating that if this holds, if this blockade actually sticks,
We could see oil go up by what?
by $5 to $8 a barrel. And for any forwarder listening, you know what that means. It's an almost instant, tangible hit to your operational costs. It could cause jet fuel prices to skyrocket.
And it impacts the profitability of literally every single booking.
Every single one.
And fuel's not the only headwind. Tariffs are slowing the whole engine down.
Right. S&P Global's latest report showed U.S. business activity growth slowed to a 6-month low.
And they point the finger directly at tariffs, don't they? For the slowdown and for the rise in input costs.
They do. The PMI, dropping to 53.0, might not sound like a disaster, but what S&P is saying is that these tariffs act like a hidden tax. They make all the components we ship more expensive right from the start.
Which naturally dampens demand.
And slows the whole supply chain. On top of that, you've got central banks pulling in opposite directions. The Bank of England looks set to cut rates.
But the Bank of Japan is almost certain to hike.
To 0.75%, most likely. And a BOJ hike. Well, for you, that means the cost of capital goes up, the yen might strengthen, and that makes Asia exports pricier.
So, let's bring it all together. What does this mean for the next few months? The air cargo market itself seems to be showing this incredible internal strength.
It is. It's being sustained by that tight capacity, and demand is clearly there. But, and it's a big but, the future path is just choked with these external costs.
So you've got rising oil from geopolitics on one side.
Colliding with that persistent cost pressure from trade tariffs on the other. It's a classic case of positive market fundamentals meeting some overwhelming negative external factors.
Meaning that success in 2026 is all about forecasting.
It's entirely about forecasting and managing those surging input costs. You have to keep an exceptionally close eye on that crude market.
Until next time.